Good morning, everyone, and Chodesh Tov, a good Chodesh. We are now on Perek Dala Mishna Ches. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Yeshua said. Now, this is a continuation from the previous Mishnah that we spoke about. If a truma falls into chulin, that you need, according to one opinion, and that's the opinion that we follow, you need 100 times chulin against the amount of truma that fell in. So if one sa'ah of truma fell, if you want it not to become nullified in the mixture, you need to have 100 chulin plus the one sa'ah of truma that fell in. Then the sa'ah of truma becomes nullified. Even a non-Kohen can eat anything of this pile, and you have to separate a sa'ah from the pot, give to the Kohen, so that the Kohen doesn't lose the money that was coming to him, the money that was coming to him. And that was yesterday's Mishnah, which I apologize again, was a bit of a rush. The different opinions about how much you need. One, if it's 1 to 99, we know that amount is not going to nullify. The question was, do you need 100 against the truma? Do you need 99 plus, whatever that plus may be against the truma? Or do you need 99 and a kav, which is 1/6 of a sa'ah, meaning 1/6 of the amount that fell in the example of the Mishnah? But it means 99 plus 1/6 of the amount that fell in, be able to nullify it. So now the discussion of this coming Mishnah is going to be dealing with some of the details involved in this concept of when the truma falls in and gets mixed into 100 times more, that it becomes nullified. Rabbi Yeshua says, here's the case. Ta'enim shechayros, black figs, ma'alais asalavanis. They can, as we say, raise up or bring up the white ones. Levanais ma'alais hashachayros, and the white ones can bring up the black ones. So the case is like this. In the first case, where we say the black ones bring up the white ones, that means to say, if a white fig of truma now falls into a mixture of figs that are chulin, 50 of the figs are black, 50 of the figs are white. So we say that the black figs can combine the black chulin figs, non-truma figs. The black chulin figs can mix together with the white chulin figs to be 100 times more against the one white truma fig. And once that happens, and it's nullified, as we said before, you got to take out the amount that of truma that fell in and give it to the Kohen. In this case, where it was the white fig that fell in, it's a white fig that you now give to the Kohen to compensate him for what he missed out from his truma that became nullified. So that's the first case. You've got the black fig. That's the first case where it says the black figs bring up the white figs. The second case where it says the white figs bring up the black figs is talking about where a black fig fell into 50 white figs and 50 black figs. And we say that the halacha is that the combination, the black and the white figs, will nullify the black fig, and then you give a black fig to the Kohen. Now, what is interesting here is, and this is a very important part of the discussion here in this Mishnah, is that typically when you have a mixture, you want to consider something a mixture. I mean, you want to consider the white figs and the black figs a mixture. To be a mixture, it has to mean that if, let's say, something forbidden gets mixed into something permissible. Now the question is, do you have enough of the permissible things to nullify the forbidden thing? And when they become a mixture, they can become nullified. A mixture typically means that the two things that get mixed together are not distinguishable from each other. A white fig gets mixed into white figs, you can't distinguish which is the permissible fig, which is the not permissible fig. Now, in our case, we know. Let's take the first case. We know that the truma fig was white. We know that. That's not the question. So therefore, it really comes out if that white fig gets mixed into the black figs, there's no mixture there. If I would have 100 black figs and the white fig would fall into it, it wouldn't nullify it because it's distinguishable. It's not a mixture. The white fig's still there. Nothing happened to it. So therefore, it's a question: how now does the 50 black figs combine with the white figs to nullify the white fig when the black figs are distinguishable? And the Bartanura explains that the answer is because were you to go ahead and take this mixture of 50 black figs and white figs and mash them together, press that you would, if you were to press the black and white figs together, the pressing that you would do of the figs together would actually make them mix to a way that it wouldn't be distinguishable, which are whites, which are the blacks. That just seems to be the way it is. When you go ahead and you press the black figs, the white figs together, they would be indistinguishable from one another and therefore be combined to nullify the truma fig. I mean, if that were to happen, we'd have no question. If you were to take the white figs, the black figs, press them together, mash them together, it would all become white enough. So that when the white fig falls in, it would now become indistinguishable. So according to Rabbi Yeshua's opinion, even if you didn't press them together, it still works that they can nullify. Being that if you were to press them together, they would be indistinguishable. I mean, if you press them all together, it would be indistinguishable. So even when I don't press them together, we consider it a mixture to nullify. Perhaps this works because of the fact that this whole, according to most opinions, this whole concept of the needing 100 against 1 by truma to nullify is a rabbinic law. And therefore, it's enough, according to Rabbi Yeshua's opinion, to say that since if they would be mixed together, they'd be indistinguishable. Now, too, we can consider, even now when they are distinguishable, we can consider it a mixture to nullify. That is the novel concept here, novel idea of Rabbi Yeshua when it comes to this kind of mixture. Now the Mishnah continues with a different case of mixture. And now instead of being different color, it's different sizes. Igula devela, which means what they used to do with figs, was that they used to press them together to make like a cake into it, a block. Sometimes they were round, and sometimes they were square or rectangular like a brick. Now, in this case, we have igule devela, round cakes of figs, and some are large and some are small. We say hagadolim malam es hakatanim. The large ones can raise up the small ones, which means if a small one of truma falls into a mixture of large and small, of 50 large cakes of figs and 50 small cakes of figs, we say that the small cake of fig that fell in becomes nullified, and now you got to take out a small cake and give it to the kohen. And the small ones can bring up the large ones, which means that if a large one falls into the mixture of the small ones and the big ones, now we say that that they combine together to nullify the large one. I have 100 more. I'll nullify the large one, and anybody can eat now from this whole mixture. And you're going to give, in this case, where it's a large cake of truma that fell in, you're going to give to the kohen a large cake of figs. Okay, so sounds the same thing as before. Although there was differences between them, according to Rabbi Yeshua, those differences don't really make a difference here. So what new was Rabbi Yeshua adding here to this case? So this is the explanation that Tanura gives, and it's based on the Talmud Yerushalmi. I'm going to read it to you here from the Yad Avram. In this case, the mixture of chulin cakes consists of 50 small cakes and 25 large ones. Altogether, there are only 75 chulin cakes, which is an insufficient amount to nullify truma, seemingly. Nevertheless, each large cake weighs the same as 2 small ones. Rabbi Yeshua explains now that the proportion of 100 parts chulin to 1 part truma can be achieved by weight. If the weight of the chulin figs is 100 times more than the truma figs, the mixture is permitted, even though there are less than 100 units chulin to 1 unit truma. Okay, that's the novel idea here. The novel idea here is that even though I don't have 100 units, but since I have 100 times more in weight than the truma, that's also considered 100 to be able to nullify the truma that fell in. And in the other way around, which is the case where the large one fell into the small ones. Okay, so what's happening here? So let me read to you again. Yerushalmi explains that Rabbi Yeshua teaches an additional leniency in this case as well. In this case, a large truma cake of figs fell into 100 chulin cakes of figs. 50 of these figs were large, weighing the same as the truma cake. The remaining 50 were small. Combined, the chulin cakes weigh only 75 times more than the truma cake. Nevertheless, there are a total of 100 chulin cakes. Here, Rabbi Yeshua explains that the proportion of 100 parts chulin to 1 part truma can be achieved quantitatively. If the mixture contains a ratio of 100 units chulin to 1 unit truma, the mixture is permitted even though the chulin does not weigh 100 times more than the truma. That's the point the other way around. When you have the large truma cake that's falling into the mixture of large and small, where it comes out that you don't have 100 times more in weight than the original large fig cake that fell in. But since I have 100 units more than it, although it's not the same size, but it is 110 units more, it works to go ahead and nullify that large cake of truma. Okay, next case. As I said before, sometimes they press the figs into a round cake, and sometimes they press it into a square block. So here we say that the round ones can raise up the bricks, the square ones, and the square ones bring up the round ones. Even though, again, they are distinct in their shape, nonetheless, we're going to say here that here too, when we talk about the case of, let's say, a round one falling into a mixture of 50 square and 50 round, it's going to nullify the round. It's going to nullify the round cake, and then a round cake is given to the Kohen. If the case is where a square cake fell into 50 square and 50 round, they will combine to nullify the square cake, and then you give a square cake to the Kohen. That's Rabbi Yeshua's opinion. Rabbi Eliezer forbids. According to Rabbi Eliezer, a permitted item not subject to doubt is never considered a part of a dry mixture is permitted even when the mixture is prohibited. Therefore, Rabbi Eliezer argues that it cannot combine that it cannot combine to nullify the prohibited item either. A white truma fig fell into a mixture of 50 white and black figs. Since the black figs are distinguishable from the white truma fig, they are permitted and cannot combine. According to Rabbi Eliezer, we said before, I cannot make a combination of things. I can't make a mixture if I can only make a mixture if they're indistinguishable. If I can distinguish between the two of them, it's not a mixture. So if I have a white truma fig and it falls into the mixture of the white and the black ones I know are permissible. If they are permissible, they cannot mix together with the white to nullify the truma. That's Rabbi Yosef's opinion. Anytime it's distinguishable, it's not going to help to say, well, if I press it together, it won't be distinguishable. Not going to work. Rabbi Akiva says like this: if I know what fell in, then they cannot raise each other up. But if it's not known what fell in, then they would be able to bring each other up. That means like this. Akiva agrees with Rabbi Eliezer that a permitted item not subject to doubt is not considered part of the mixture and cannot combine with a permitted item that is subject to doubt in order to nullify the prohibited item. Nevertheless, Akiva maintains that that is only true if one knew the type of item that fell into the mixture. However, if one did not know the type of item that fell into the mixture, then the truma would be indistinguishable from the entire mixture. Every item contained in the mixture is subject to doubt. Perhaps is a prohibited item. Consequently, both varieties combine to nullify the prohibited item. Okay. Now, although we maybe can figure out on our own what the case is, but the next Mishna is going to actually elucidate what Rabbi Akiva was talking about, an exact case what he's talking about. But we could say for ourselves right now, based on what we see, we'll take a guess, that Rabbi Akiva's point is like this. If I know that a white truma fig fell into this mixture, or I knew a black fig fell into the mixture, then I cannot say the white and black figs of chulin mixed together, because I know that the color, the one that's a different color than the one that fell in, it's distinguishable, it's permissible. I know it's permissible. There's no doubt about it, and therefore I can't combine it with the other white figs of chulin that are a doubt which one is the truma, which one is the chulin, to nullify the truma one. If I know which one fell in, if I know what fell in, I can't combine the two. But let's say I don't know which one fell in. Let's say I know. I'm going to again. I didn't do the next Mishna yet. But let's say the case would be that I knew a fig fell in. I know a truma fig fell in, but I don't know. Was it white? Was it black? Was it from the white pile? Was it from the black pile? I know it's from one of them, but I don't know which one it was. So in that case, now all the other chulin figs, there's a question. Now we know one of them really is permissible. We know because whichever one is a different color should be permissible because essentially it's distinguishable. But practically speaking, I can't distinguish it because I don't know what fell in. And therefore, it's considered a doubt on everything. If it's considered a doubt on all the figs, then they could combine together to nullify the fig of truma, even though it comes out that according to the truth is one of them was really distinguishable. But since practically speaking, now it's not distinguishable, and the doubt does rest on the whole mixture, so therefore now, according to Rabbi Akiva, they can mix together in order to nullify. Okay. Now, Rebbe Lezer would tell you, right? Rebbe Lezer, who did not make this kind of distinction like Rabbi Akiva, he would say, it doesn't help the fact that I don't know to say, well, now I have a doubt on the whole thing. At the end of it, Rebbe Lezer says, because you don't know doesn't mean that one of them is really permissible, because one of them really is. The distinguishable one is really permissible. You happen not to know because you don't know what fell in. That's not enough of a doubt to say that I have a mixture of chulin that's all in doubt, that's all a question about, to nullify the truma that fell in. Since, truthfully, one of them is really permitted, just that I don't know which one fell in, I don't know which one it is, but I know one of them is really permitted, that cannot combine together with the other figs of chulin that we have a doubt now because something else fell into them, which was similar to them. That's not going to be enough to combine together to nullify the truma that fell in. Okay. Next mitzvah shleilaseh al zachar, prohibition against performing a homosexual act. Shenemar, as it says, v'zachar lo tishkav mishkavei isha, one should not lie with a male as one does with a woman. V'zo as haragam lanishkav. It's not just a prohibition by the person who does the act, but to the person who allows the act to be done to him. Kreve lo sishachev. It's read lo sishkav, it's spelled the same way, which means do not lay, don't do the act, but it could also be lo sishachev, don't be laid, which means have the act done to you. Misha'ara b'achnasas hatara, once there is intimacy by the intermission of the corona, chayavim shneim skila, both are obligated, both will be liable to stoning. And that again is only if it was intentionally with mourning. Ubemazid, if it's ubelay asra, intentionally without mourning, karis, person, the two of them would be liable to divine severance of life. If they did it intentionally, they didn't know it was wrong, the liability would be a sin offering. But this applies in all places and at all times. Again, have a wonderful day. Chodesh Tov, a good Chodesh, and all the best.